Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk to you very, very differently from what I normally talk about. I'm going to talk to you about climate change. This is not a normal topic for me, and let me tell you what I'm going to talk about. Climate change is one, I love fossil fuel. Okay, so fossil fuel dividends are very important in my life because I have Coal India, I have NTPC, I have Reliance Industries. I don't believe in ESG because I've been close enough to enough companies to know that in India ESG means ESGJ, that companies where ESG is a joke. So when I see the ESG portfolios, I feel like I bring up a smile on my face, because some of those companies I have seen very closely, and I don't know about E and S, but definitely G is a joke in those companies, right? So if a woman is wronged, it depends on who is the person who is wrong, who's done the wrong thing, right? So I'm not even getting into those things. I love fossil fuel, and I feel fossil fuel has done more for humanity than many other the Greta Thunbergs and Al Gore and whoever you want to name. The same people who use private jets to travel, and then they talk about global warming. How many, I'm sure my audience is not old enough to remember Carl Sagan, who spoke about global cooling. I think this was in the 70s, if not in the 60s, definitely not in the 60s, I wouldn't have remembered. So if you go back and read about Carl Sagan, he is a guy who's I would now call him a leftist scientist, who kept saying that the world will become so cold that we will not be able to live. Fine. Then they said, oh, this is not working, people are not believing. Then they said global warming. And then, so global warming means the world is going to get warmer and the earth is going to get warmer, etc., etc. So now that is the latest thing which they are selling. Now then they were very smart. One thing about the leftists is you have to give them full credit for their word choices. So now it is no longer global warming, it is no longer global cooling, it is it is climate change. Now climate change sounds so sexy and so great that of course climate will change. It's dynamic, right? The earth knows what to do. And also, guys, please keep your ego at home. We are at best 100,000 years old on the planet, and the planet itself is 1 billion years old. So are you even trying to get the context? Are we trying to say we are here to save the planet? You got to be joking. The planet, till the planet needs us, it will keep us. When it doesn't need us, it will shake us off like the dinosaur, right? The earth is not here to save you, nor does it need you. It does not need all of us to save it. Yes, you have to abuse the earth less because plastic cannot be destroyed, etc., etc. Yes, fossil fuel is a problem, but it should not be exaggerated so much. So why is the industry wanting you to, why is ESG being sold? Remember, everybody around has a vested interest in selling ESG. ESG funds charge more than normal funds. So it is easier for me to hold in TCS or an Infosys or an HDFC bank in an ESG fund than in a regular fund, because in a regular fund I earn less money. And in a regular fund, you're going to compare me to the index. Here, I'm going to say, oh, I'm ESG, so please don't compare me to the index. I'm ESG, I'm God, right? I can't do anything wrong. So to me, ESG is not a great concept. I don't like the fact that you keep on saying the same thing, right? So Joe Biden says you must do this, immediately SEC takes it up, and then our great regulators in India and other parts of the world take it up and say, oh, this must be done because the earth is under threat, or governance is under threat. What governance are we talking about in a country where one of the most respected industrialists, who said that, who's on the top of ESG lists, converts a public limited company to a private limited company because it suits him, right? So I don't think we should worry too much about ESG. Also understand that when a fund house wants you to put money in ESG, they don't mind if you remove money from the lower charging funds to the higher charging funds. Higher charging funds have a solid excuse to underperform because we are ESG, right? So won't be very surprised if you find ITC there saying they're very good in compliance. I won't be surprised if you find Vedanta there saying they're very good in compliance, which they may be, but it is the same Vedanta board which asks you to surrender the shares at 90 rupees and the share is now 330 rupees. They will ask you to surrender it at 330 rupees and later tomorrow it could be 530 rupees. I am not getting into predicting share prices, but it is the same board which said that, oh, at 87.50 it's a very good share to sell. And who was the buyer? It was the company management itself which was buying, the promoter was buying. In these cases, not to show off the conflict of interest to me means you're nowhere near ESG. Very few companies really believe that you should add value to the small shareholder, right? So who are the big real beneficiaries of today's corporate democracy? In a company which is run so-called publicly or privately, like say ICICI Bank, which has all ICICI, AMC and all, who really runs it? Maybe the top 50 employees, top 70 employees, not more than that. And actually really powerful would be the top 15 employees, right? So most decisions would be to favor them. So they don't mind taking a long gestation project because anyway, there is the small shareholder is not going to ask when will insurance earn money, when will life insurance earn money, when will general insurance earn money. So you can afford to promote such companies. So all this, if you think is part of good governance, then be my guest. I love you. That's how I can make money out of you. Now come into this and say fossil fuels have not helped the world. That's again very funny because last 150 years of your life, when you thought life was very harsh and short and brutal, it is fossil fuels which help you. Face it, India is not in such a bad shape, but in countries which are very cold, you forget, you take North India, you take places like Ladakh and the upper parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, they are really, and parts of Arunachal Pradesh, they are really cold. So who really saved you during winter? It was the fossil fuel, right? You could get, then you take some parts of say Vijayawada, Vizag, Hyderabad, they're really hot during summer. What saved you? It was maybe electricity. From where did that electricity come? It came from coal. Did coal pollute? Yes, coal did pollute. But so what? What did it do for mankind? I think we should leave it to the market forces. It is the market forces which force some guy to dig, find some black color substance and refine it, convert it into fuel and put it into your car. And the same car which you are using to attend the warming climate change meeting, right? Same car, no change. And then they say, oh, now we should use electric cars. But electric cars create, you need electricity. Electricity comes from coal, largely in India. Hey, thank you NTPC. I'm happy with holding your share and collecting the dividend. From where does NTPC get its fuel? It gets its fuel largely from Coal India. Where does Tata Power get its fuel? Largely from Coal India. What does Coal India do? It makes coal, it digs. What forces Coal India to dig deep, get something, refine it, clean it, put it into trucks and send it across? It is commerce, right? Somebody knows that you can make money by selling coal. Somebody knows that by digging deep, getting a black liquid, refining it and sending it across, you can make money. Tomorrow, if the situation is such that you can get more money out of selling solar, people will sell solar. More money selling wind, they will sell wind power, right? So there is, make no mistake about it. Leave it to the market forces. If the government forces some action, be very suspicious because there is some left guy sitting there and benefiting from all these changes. So find out why there is such a push for climate change, global warming, global cooling, whatever you want to call it, and why there is so much push for you to put money into ESG funds. ESG funds pay better. So it is easier, better, more profitable for the mutual fund to hold TCS, HDFC Bank, etc. in its ESG fund. They make more money. Everybody is happy making money there. So there is something. So if you don't know from where I am making money, you have to be worried as to what content am I delivering. So where am I making money? I'm making money from doing lectures. Do the lectures depend on these videos? No. So do I have a vested interest in my YouTube channel being popular? Of course. I make money from advertisements which appear, which you see. Maybe I don't know where I make money if you skip, but yes, that is where I make money. Then there are people who watch YouTube without any charges. Those people pay, by paying a fee, so they don't see any ads, but I get a portion of that also. So you should understand where I am coming from, right? So why are ESG funds pushed to you? Go and have a look. Right, charges are more. Then there is a vested interest all over the world. Then there will be an ESG index to be created by, say, anybody. It could be S&P, it could be any of those big brands will create an ESG index. Then there will be an ESG index fund in India. Sorry, I mean an ESG index in India. Then there will be, or they will all try to benchmark against that. Then that fund will definitely underperform the index. Make no mistake. Even if I create an ESG index fund, it will underperform the index for large parts of it, because when I am willing to say I want ESG, I have to be willing to give up some returns. For example, when I gave up ITC about 3-4 years ago, I definitely thought I will underperform, because I thought ITC will not fall, right? But at 330 rupees, the government said we are going to sell it through ETF, and it crashed. The rest is history. I think it went down as low as 120, 130. I'm not very sure. So all that happens, right? So leave it to the market forces. The market forces will decide which fuel to use. Look at the beautiful charts of Indian car sales and see what has happened to diesel sales. As long as the government does not interfere too much, of course the government will interfere, because the government has the taxation in its hand. So if the government decides that petrol will be charged say 150 rupees and diesel will be charged 120 rupees, you can be sure that more manufacturers will manufacture diesel cars, because diesel cars are more attractive. But suddenly into this, if there's an electric car which is available at much cheaper, and it is say 70 rupees a unit, then people will shift, and people will also know how to calculate whether to pay an extra 10 lakhs for the car or extra 5 lakhs for the car because it is EV. They will check the EV availability en route to say Bombay, Pune or any of those places and see how much time it takes. The market will keep evaluating all this, and the market will decide how many EV sells, how many petrol car sells, how many diesel car sells, right? Of course, there will be legislation saying you cannot, you have to do only EV cars. That is the power of the left. The power of the left is to make sure that they give data to you in such a fantastic way that we will all believe that fossil fuel is the worst thing that man could have done. So what if it kept him alive for the last 150 years? Thank you. Bye.